Hello friends, it is June and summer has arrived as it often does in Norway without warning and just everything at once. So I thought we were going to make another pair of light, easy, breezy summer trousers. And I want to base it off this simple wrap trouser pattern that is adjustable that I keep seeing online all the time and that a lot of people seem to enjoy. I do, however, want to add a little bit of a tweak. I have this very nice cotton check that I got on a closure sale that I think will be very good for this. But what I wanted to do is I want to see how the pattern changes if we add a lot of pleats, because that is something I haven't really seen when I've looked for this pattern. They all seem to do like one length and that looks a lot of fun, but can we add pleats? Everything seems more fun with pleats. So let's see if we can make up this, which is supposed to be a very simple adjustable pattern that shouldn't take us too long. Although, as usual, the original pattern I don't think has pockets, and that is not allowed. We'd like our pockets, so we might have to do a little quest detour to make sure that we have proper pouches to store treasures within. The first thing I want to do is check the length of these lavender trousers we made here on this channel last year. Check the waist circumference to make sure we are well in excess. And lastly, get the approximate height and total length of our crotch seam. Now, because the backside generally needs more space than the front, I am cutting both pieces slightly taller on one side and slightly shorter on the other, making sure to match them up so we waste a minimum of fabric. Starting off with cutting 2 waistbands and then the rest of the trousers. Have I told you lately how much I love checkered fabrics for their ease of cutting straight lines? Like, this is such a luxury. Now, as closely as we are able to match it, we are drawing in the curve from belly button through to the small of the back, or however high you prefer your trousers to sit, plus seam allowance. Some people find a piece of bendy but sturdy metal wire to be very useful here. I prefer to be a little too cautious on the first go. We can always test for fit and cut more away if needed, but the other way around is slightly trickier. Although if the legs are long enough, we can always cut off from the top and raise the waistband a bit if we have accidentally cut a little bit too deep. Before anything else though, we are going to add some pockets. We have enough scrap fabric for at least one pocket from what we just cut out. The rest I will scavenge from the scraps of other projects, or in this case, an old worn out shirt. Just promise me that 2026 is not the year we start accepting this no pockets in women's clothing nonsense, okay? I am also cutting 2 slits in our mid-front panel for the aforementioned pockets. By having the pockets on the front panel, which are tied first, we will also hide them behind the back panel, so if we do a little bit of wonky work, it won't show too much. And also scrounging some scrap ribbon for pocket anchoring to the waistband. This helps especially if you have a lot of heavy things in your pockets, so that the weight is balanced more throughout the waistband and not just on the pocket seam, so that it like puckers and opens and gets a little bit unseemly. This is a detail, you don't have to do this, but I find that it helps when you like to actually use pockets for carrying things. Our pockets are then duly French seamed, as is my preference, as being someone who doesn't have a modern sewing machine and their zigzag stitch alternatives, but you do what works easiest for you. And then the pockets are secured in a mirrored fashion to our trouser panels to ensure we have both a left and right facing pocket. I also like to do a very narrow line of top stitching after turning the pockets right side out, just to ensure everything stays where it should. Now, while our panels are still nice and flat and uncomplicated, I will take the time to hem everything that will not get pleated into the waistband. Next up will be French seaming our two prepped panels together, making sure that the tallest parts both face towards the back and the both pockets face towards the front. To help with movement, I'm clipping into the seam allowance before the second French seam is stitched. You know what I mean. And then we have only a few pleats to add before attaching the waistband. And yes, I will set the pleats before attaching the waistband, just in case. Plus, I think it makes alterations easier later if we need to widen or narrow down the waistband for any reason at all. Honestly, I am so glad that I used the whole fabric width, because there ended up being far fewer pleats than I thought there would be. Why do trousers always require far more fabric than I think they do? Now, if I had done better prep work, the trousers would be done by now. But it turns out that a 20 centimeter difference between the front and back panel length was just that little bit too much even for me. So I'll just chop the corners at a curve and then re-hem those sections to avoid trailing fabric on the floor. And that's pretty much it. This has got to be one of the easiest trousers I have ever made, even if we did add the oft forgotten but crucial step of pockets. And even though you can spot the dark fabric used for the second pocket, it is still not really a problem since it is hidden by the second fabric layer most of the time anyway. And there you have it. Personally, I am a fan of the pleats. They add a little bit of extra volume to the legs, but I don't know what you'd think. Do you prefer the versions out there already that do not have pleats? So it's a little bit more, I don't know, moving around and swooshy. Or are you going to try to make yourself a pair of these? Can recommend. They were a quick sew and not terribly difficult. This is a very, very light cotton fabric, so it drapes really well. I kind of want to make a pair of winter trousers in like, I have a black wool over here that is also very thin, but it would still drape quite differently. So I'm curious about that, how that would work out. But yeah, give this a go. They were really fun if you enjoy fun summer wears. But that's that for this time, this quick little mini project. And thank you to our patrons for supporting these shenanigans and adventures in adjustable dress and many other fun things. And I'm still working on Know Your Clothes projects in the background. I have at least one lead that I'm going to follow up on that we hopefully will get some interesting stuff from. And thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And hopefully I will see you next time. Bye.